The room goes quiet in the middle of laughter, like someone suddenly pulled the plug on sound. Plates stop clinking, glasses freeze midair. Every eye turns toward the corner where a single tray trembles, just enough to spill light across polished silverware. This is not supposed to be a moment. It is supposed to be invisible. The restaurant glows with soft gold light, the kind designed to make rich people feel calm and important. Suits fill the chairs, power hums beneath the tablecloths. At the center of it all sits a man used to being listened to, used to rooms bending in his direction. His presence presses down on the air, and across from him stands a woman the room has already decided not to see. She grips the tray tighter. The edge bites into her palm. Her shoulders pull inward, not from fear alone, but from habit. She has learned how to take up less space. Her uniform is neatly pressed, slightly faded from too many washes. It still smells faintly of soap and lemon. Her shoes ache, but she does not shift her weight. She never does. All around her, faces watch with that polite distance people keep when embarrassment does not belong to them. No one moves, no one interrupts. The silence stretches, thin and sharp. Her eyes drop to the table, then rise again. They are steady, but tired, the kind of tired that sleep does not fix. A faint mark of old pain sits at the corner of her mouth, like a memory that refuses to leave. She swallows once, slowly. Breath in, breath out. Time slips backward without warning. Rain on cracked pavement. A bus stop flickering in the dark. Coins counted twice before being spent. A phone screen glowing with a single saved photo. Edges worn from too many late-night touches. A notebook folded and unfolded until the spine weakens. Its pages crowded with careful handwriting. Each line written smaller than the last to save space. Words live there. Many of them. They always have. The room does not know this. What the room sees is a woman standing alone under too much light. What it hears is nothing at all. What it assumes is everything. She takes a step back, then stops herself. Leaving would be easier. Disappearing would match expectations. She feels that familiar pull, the quiet instruction she has followed all her life. Keep your head down. Get through the day. Survive now. Speak later. Her fingers loosen, just a little. The tray steadies. Her back straightens without asking permission. The world has already moved on from her pain. Plates clink again. Someone coughs, time restarts, careless and fast. But something has shifted, small and invisible, like a breath held too long and finally released. She stands there, unseen and fully. The next morning begins with the same rain. It taps softly on the restaurant's windows, drumming against the glass, as if reminding her of every moment she has ever waited. She steps into the lobby, uniform pressed again, shoes still aching, but her back straighter than it was yesterday. The golden light of the chandeliers feels heavier today, as though aware that someone will test her patience, her presence, her quiet strength. The dining room smells of fresh linen and polished wood. The chairs scrape softly across the floor as servers move quickly, rehearsing smiles they have perfected over years. She walks past them, unnoticed, until she reaches the far table where he sits again. The same man. The same suit, polished and heavy with authority. The same quiet power that could crush a room without raising a hand. He does not notice her immediately. He never notices the small details. But today, the air between them hums differently, charged, waiting, as if the storm outside has followed her in. She approaches slowly, tray in hand, careful not to make a sound. Each step is measured, deliberate, a dance learned in countless kitchens, in countless nights when sleep was a stranger. Her eyes flick briefly to the contract laid before him, a sheet of paper foreign in script, unfamiliar and dangerous. The table is crowded with men in suits, glances sharp and expectant. They do not notice the sweat gathering at her hairline, or the tiny tremor in her fingers. They only see a girl they believe too small to matter. Her chest tightens. She feels the old pull of doubt, the one that whispers she cannot belong here, that her voice is too quiet, her words too few, her accent too heavy. She breathes through it, letting the memory of past struggles wash over her. Nights spent counting coins, teaching herself languages from worn books borrowed and returned, the radio playing foreign voices as she repeated each word in a dimly lit room. That is her shield. That is her sword. the knowledge no one in this room suspects she has carried all along. She kneels briefly to adjust a chair for a child at the next table. A guest thanks her, unaware that her smile is an armor, polished and precise. She straightens, takes a breath, and moves toward the table again. The paper lies there, heavy with expectation, like a trap disguised as a simple task. The room watches, holding its collective breath, waiting for her to falter. For a moment, she feels the weight of all those who have doubted her. A flashback comes unbidden. Rain-soaked streets, the bus she could barely afford, her mother's gentle insistence that words could change the world if she learned enough of them. She presses her lips together. Nothing in this room has the power to stop her. Not now. Not ever. Her fingers hover over the paper. Eyes lift to the faces around the table, to the man whose sneer yesterday almost made her falter. She remembers the tray trembling in her hands, the silence of the room, the mockery, the laughter. She closes her eyes briefly, breathes, opens them. She is ready. Time slows. The hum of the chandeliers fades. The chatter, the footsteps, the soft clink of silver all blur into one distant note. Every ounce of doubt, every memory of struggle, every lesson learned in silence builds into a single moment of clarity. The room does not know yet, but they are about to witness it. She lifts her head. Her fingers touch the paper. The first word leaves her lips, calm, precise, foreign, and the room stops. The storm has only just begun. And in that pause, the invisible begins to make itself seen. The room holds its breath. Every eye is fixed on her, every mind straining to understand what just happened. She stands at the head of the table, small in frame, but enormous in presence. Her voice, calm and steady, flows from her lips in a language no one expected. French. Smooth, precise, unshakable. The words carry weight, not just sound. Commands attention. Whispers ripple through the suits and polished shoes. Disbelief painted across every face. The man who mocked her yesterday sits frozen, a spoon halfway to his mouth, the sneer replaced by something he cannot name. She does not pause. Arabic comes next, rolling across the table, rhythmic and commanding. Mandarin follows, careful and exact. Spanish, soft yet undeniable. German, clipped and sharp, resonating with authority. Each language peels back the veil of assumption, the walls of privilege and arrogance built around the table. And finally, she returns to English, not broken, not timid, but flawless, confident, deliberate. Every word lands perfectly, showing the contract's hidden dangers, revealing the clauses that could have cost millions, exposing the trap no one else had seen. The room shifts, air becomes heavy. Even the staff outside the dining room stop in their tracks, sensing the change. The man leans forward, eyes wide, disbelief etched deep. He opens his mouth, closes it. The arrogance that once filled the room evaporates in an instant, leaving a raw human vulnerability. He had expected obedience, hesitation, perhaps even a stumble. Instead, he finds mastery, intelligence, and courage all in the form of a young woman he had underestimated. A waitress, a cleaner, someone he had never really seen until now. She explains the risk quietly, each word precise, ensuring no one misinterprets the truth. The threat to the company, the mistake waiting to happen, the financial disaster that would have gone unnoticed. All are laid bare, not with showmanship, but with clarity and grace. The men at the table exchange glances, the client nods slowly, and a silence heavier than any applause fills the room. The CEO finally speaks. Softly, almost in disbelief, he asks a question that carries both awe and regret. Where did she learn this? She smiles faintly, just enough to show warmth, enough to remind them that nothing was handed to her. Everything she knows, everything she is, she earned through hardship and determination. Years of lost sleep, borrowed books, whispered languages on rainy nights, watching the world pass by while she learned how to survive, and now, how to excel. No pity, no excuses, just truth. He rises slowly, a gesture of respect she does not expect, but accepts silently. He apologizes, not just for yesterday, not just for his arrogance, but for the blindness he carried. Offers her a place at the company, not as a servant, not as a token, but as a partner. She pauses, considering. She could step into a world she has only observed from the outside, a world that has mocked and ignored her. But she remembers the lessons of her past, the dignity she has carried in silence. She accepts on her terms, respect first, always. She walks away from the table, apron still in hand, head held high, each step measured. Light streams through the entrance, spilling across polished floors, and she steps into it like a woman reclaiming her place in the world. The room remains frozen for a heartbeat, watching her move, understanding at last that power is not always loud, and courage does not always announce itself. Sometimes the strongest voices are quiet, until the world gives them a reason to speak. And in that silence, the lesson remains. Dignity cannot be mocked, and the underestimated are often the ones who change